You know, anytime you lose a senior class like we lost, I think, you know, I've been reminded several times that we've lost 4,600 points and, you know, who knows how many starts. But really, I notice it most in practice. Of course, we haven't played yet, so I'm sure I'll notice it in games. I think the biggest thing that we got good at with that group of guys, you know, is managing end-of-game situations, being successful when you go on the road. That takes a different element of confidence and togetherness to win consistently on the road. And I feel like we accomplished that with that team. You know, we played our best basketball late in the year. And that's what really good teams do. And I think it takes some strong leadership in the locker room to do it. And I think all of those guys, all four of our seniors that we lost that played a lot, contributed not just on the floor, but most especially in the locker room. And those are the things I think that we have to replace more than anything. Yeah, you know, I think the thing that our program has always been based on is, you know, is playing a lot of guys. And I think it's not only to help your program in the now, you know, within a game and try to wear out your opponent, be strong at the end, but maybe as importantly, it's developing players so that you've always got a next man up mentality. We had that last year when Taryn went down, when AG went down, you know, and so now those guys though are stepping into bigger roles. So, you know, you mentioned Aaron Overheiser. He's been a guy that's been a key piece off of our bench. Clearly he's a guy that's put in a lot of time. I think he is more than ready to assume a starting position. You know, we've got Trey Smith, another guy who started some games in the past. Now he's going to assume a much bigger role. But all of those guys, it's been a process. And, you know, and I think it says something about our program when, you know, when some of while the polls don't mean much, I think it says something when you can lose 4 starters, 4,600 points and a ton of wins, and still be respected both within the conference and nationally the way that we are. I think it shows that over the course of time, we've done pretty well when we've had to replace a lot of guys, and I think it's because we have buy-in in our program from a lot of players who sacrifice, and now's their opportunity. Well, it's exciting, but on the other hand, you know, there is some pressure involved. But I think it's better pressure than to try to figure out how to get your program to that point. I think the players, now that I think our players understand the standard of excellence, and the standard of excellence is set in the way that you practice every day, the way you come to practice, the way you attack drills, how you play together, you know, how you treat one another in the locker room. Those aren't things that you can fix sometimes in 1 year. It takes time, and I think that's the thing that is got to be consistent from year to year, team to team. And I think if you do those things and you surround yourself with good people, good players that are excited to learn and you know, achieve, I think that you can withstand losses. Now, we've got a lot of work to do with this team because we haven't proven anything yet, but I like the excitement and the way that our guys have gone about their business and practice every day. Well, I think we would start with Devin Stover. He's a transfer from Cleveland State, although he's got 4 years of eligibility left. Devin's got a high motor, very athletic, great teammate. You know, he wants to do what's best for the team, sometimes to a fault, but you know, he's still learning the system. He's learning his role. That takes time, but he's got a very bright future in our program. And then I think the other freshman, Dondre Palmer from Pickerington North. Dondre is a great team guy. He's a great communicator. He's really improving himself on the offensive end. He's always been noted in Columbus as a high-level defender, you know, a great team player, slasher, rebounder, transition guy, but he's starting to learn the finer points on offense, and we're encouraging him to shoot when he's open, and really he's played pretty well here in the preseason. He's going to have a bright future in our program too. And then finally, Trent Miller is the other freshman that we've got. Trent's actually been dinged up the entire preseason, so he really hasn't practiced much. But just prior to practice beginning, he was pretty active in our individual workouts and some open gyms and played pretty well. So we're excited about what his future holds. Most important thing with Trent is we got to get him healthy first. Well, I think first and foremost, we've scheduled pretty aggressively. I would say most of my time as the head coach here at Findlay, and I think our fans have been treated to some great basketball. We've played West Liberty, we've played Bellarmine, we've played Fairmont State, we've continued this rivalry with Ferris State. Really all home and home in the time that I've been here at Findlay, so as the head coach. So this year's no different. We're going to open the season up against a Truman State team that's been in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years, and they return a lot of those guys that played big minutes. So we've got a big challenge right out of the chute on their home floor. So I'm sure, as you mentioned earlier, the place will be excited, and this is probably one of their biggest non-conference home games that they've hosted there in a long time. But they have a new coaching staff, so I'm sure that will bring some additional excitement. So that's a big challenge, and then we come back and play another GLVC team the following day, and then we come back home and play 3 straight non-conference games against former GLIAC opponents, beginning with Saginaw Valley State. So, I think we go Saginaw Valley, Ferris, Northwood. So we've got some challenges. We know that, but that's the way our program's been based. I think we're positioned that we're capable and should be playing those types of teams. Well, I think what the league showed last year is that's pretty good in men's basketball, and there was a lot of questions when this transition happened of, how would that regional look? Because there's 8 teams going to make the regional, but now you've got 3 good basketball conferences, so someone's only going to get 2 teams. Well, the GMAC got 3. And I think that says a lot. Last year, and this could change from year to year, but last year the GLVC had 3, the GMAC had 3, and the GLIAC had 2. Doesn't necessarily mean the GMAC was better than those conferences, but I think what it does show is that the GMAC was a pretty good basketball conference. Well, I think our first goal every year is to win the regular season conference championship. Outside of that, I don't really, and this is true from any season that I coach, we don't set a lot of big goals at this point. We'll go month to month there. And if we get into February and we put ourselves in position to win the conference, then our next goal might be we want to be the top seed and host the conference tournament. Or it might then become the NCAA regional. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be ready to play every night. Put your best foot forward, do the best you can, and I think with the talent we have, and as time goes on, we'll develop the experience to win close games, figure out who we have to have on the floor and how we have to play, who our free throw shooters are. A lot of those things are unknown for us at this point. But I think it's realistic to set a goal of winning the regular season conference championship.